Your football manager say will be dominated at the top by Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe. So I trapped them at non-league clubs for the rest of their career. Can they carry their teams all the way up to the Premier League? I should say as well, the two clubs that I have chosen, Yeovil and Torquay, have never been in the Premier League. In fact, the highest that either of these teams have been is the Championship, and I believe that's only Yeovil. Both players have future transfers, which means they also cannot be sold or leave the clubs at all. So I thought I'd check the season preview and found it hilarious how Wrexham are still predicted top. But of course, both guys featured in the Media Dream 11. So the things that we're going to be looking out for in this experiment. Essentially, it's a race for both guys, or at least a competition, as to who can get the furthest, hopefully that being the Premier League. I also want to see who wins the Ballon d'Or. I don't expect them to be these two, but maybe somebody else wins it. Maybe eventually, once they get to their highest point, they have a chance of winning it. Maybe that is something we can look at. And essentially, how much of an impact do both of these players have at non-league clubs? Are they going to be trapped there forever? Do they have a huge impact on the club to the point where they're signing superstars in the future in the Premier League, balling, winning trophies? Is it going to mean nothing and they're going to be stuck kind of in mediocrity in the lower leagues of English pyramid? And whether this video will actually persuade people who aren't subscribed to smash that subscribe button. So let's go forward one season and see if Erling Haaland's raw power dominates the National League more, or if it's Kylian Mbappe's lightning quick pace that torments the other clubs. Okay, we're one season in. Let's take a look. We got a link right here to the Vanarama National League, and the title holders is Yeovil, which means it's Erling Haaland. But I can see other things have happened. Wrexham have lost to Torquay 4-0 in the playoff final. That is Mbappe's Torquay. So both teams are going to be going up. Now, this is quite interesting. The player statistics, we can see Kylian Mbappe, just in the Vanarama National League alone, has 57 goals in 38 appearances. Erling Haaland has 46 in 39. But of course, I've actually seen Erling Haaland get more than 46 in the Premier League, so I'm fairly disappointed. I was expecting Haaland to be around the 80 mark. Let's dive into that, because maybe there's a reason for it. I mean, he played 39 games, so he played enough games. Is it because he isn't playing? Yes. He's playing in a two-striker formation, in a what looks like a very defensive formation as well. That could play a part in it. I know they finished top of the league, but that could definitely play a part in it. Whereas if we take a look at Torquay, 4-2-3-1, no, oh my God, they also played. Maybe it is the pace of Kylian Mbappe then that has made the big difference. He got 57 goals, but it wasn't enough to get them automatically promoted. And in fact, they even finished in third place, 89 points. They lost 13 games in total, whereas Yeovil were champions, only losing 7 and drawing 5. Did they lose to Torquay? They did not. So unbeaten when it was Haaland versus Torquay. We'll take a look at that in a sec. But 107 points in total with a better goal difference. So I'm guessing then that possibly Yeovil's team was just better defensively. The manager probably had a bit of thing to do with that. I'm guessing because, I mean, it kind of looks like they were just better tactically. They kind of played the same formation, but although Mbappe scored way more goals, he didn't perform better in the average rating there, we can see. More assists from the Torquay players too. We can see Corey Andrews and Kieran Evans there, both getting a high amount of assists. In fact, Kieran got the highest. Player of the matches though, Erling Haaland got 25 player of the matches. That's insane. That is amazing. So yeah, really happy with that. Now, there are other competitions. What I do want to see is, did any of them make it to the final? We can see there's 4th round, 5th round, semi-final, and the final, and they won it against York City. Erling Haaland scored in the final. So what is quite impressive then, Torquay obviously made it through the playoff system in the Vanarama National League. They beat Woking 6-1 there in the semi-final, and then they went into the final where they destroyed Wrexham at Wembley 4-0. And that, he scored 3 of the 4 goals. Okay, we might as well take a quick look, because we're not going to do this every season, but I just want to see if there's like an astounding difference in quality. So he got the assist for the first one, and then I guess it's just all pace. Good control there. There he is. There's pace. It's just so much pace, and there's 4 players around him, including the goalkeeper, and he still manages to squeeze squeeze that one in. At Wembley Stadium, Mbappe, no way does he get it in from there. It comes off the post and he's just, oh my god. It's terrible. Wrexham players absolutely crap themselves when Kylian Mbappe is around. That seems to be what is happening here. Brown by his own corner flag. Oh, it's a gift. It's a gift, and Torquay United are through. They've got themselves promoted alongside Yeovil Town. Champions Yeovil spent pre-season bringing in 13 new players on small fees or loans, including 4 players from Swansea to accompany Erling Haaland in League 2. While Torquay brought in 13 of their own, including Will Grigg. What a strike force that's going to be, by the way. And Kylian Mbappe has started the season very well, scoring in every league game so far, including a hat-trick against Stockport. But it was Erling Haaland's Yeovil who started better and find themselves in second so far after 3 league games, and even beaten Mbappe's Torquay 4-1 in a game where the 2 scored all the goals. Well, Mbappe contributed to 1 out of the 5 anyway. But before we go any further, boy, have I got a cracking deal for you. A 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's risk-free. Now, I've been using NordVPN for about 2 years now, but they're actually sponsoring today's video for the very first time. And I highly recommend them because, like I say, I signed up for them 2 years ago because the UK Netflix, they kicked off one of my favorite shows, which was The US Office. And I was halfway through watching the series, so what did I do? I signed up for NordVPN, and I changed my location virtually to the US, and I used the US Netflix, which is far better, by the way, and then I could continue to watch my show. But by using NordVPN, I also found out about a lot of the other benefits. It's incredibly easy to use. Once you've signed up and logged in, one click on the nation you want to appear virtually from, and it's done. Boom. It's also the fastest VPN out there. Another tick. Boom. They have an advanced anti-malware feature which blocks out intrusive ads and web trackers, meaning you are protected from so many cybersecurity threats online. More booms. And there is another huge benefit that I'm now going to use quite often. Now, recently I tried to watch the Manchester United versus Villa game at 2 p.m. on a Sunday, and it wasn't on Sky Sports, despite me paying a huge amount every single month. A lot more than what it would cost me to get a NordVPN subscription and then put myself virtually in a different country and watch it from a different streaming service, which is exactly what I'm going to do from now on because I can with NordVPN. So if you also want to try all of these benefits, let me sort you out. Because if you use nordvpn.com/OmegaLuke, this link gives you a risk-free 30-day trial. It's a money-back guarantee plus 4 months for free added on to a 2-year plan. So I will add the link down in the description and in the comment section, but it is nordvpn.com/OmegaLuke. Simple as that. It's so easy to do. And of course, then you can start watching films and TV shows that you can't watch wherever you are from virtually through the VPN. You're protected by the VPN. I think there's a double VPN access as well, so you're double protected. And not to mention, you can access all of the sports games that can't be accessed where you are, like I'm going to do going forward, using a different, much cheaper streaming software. So try it now. Thank you very much to Nord for sponsoring today's video and for helping me watch all of my TV shows that I've wanted to watch in the past. Alright, now we're 2 years in. Now we are going to go up in bigger stages at some point, but at the start we might as well see how close they are. So we are now in Sky Bet League 2. I can see none of the jobs are being taken, and Mbappe has once again won the golden boot, but once again the title goes to Yeovil, and Torquay go up with them. So that's interesting. So we are seeing, and this is quite fitting really when you think about Mbappe, he's getting all of the individual awards, but he's not winning the championships. Yeovil have gone up as champion back to back, and Torquay are just getting promoted, with Mbappe getting more goals than anybody else in the league. Erling Haaland did get 44. That's still a good amount, but it's only in 46 games. I've seen him get way more again in the Premier League. Mbappe getting 50 in total. Erling Haaland, though, put in a better performance in the average rating and once again getting above 22 man of the matches, which is weird that Mbappe's only getting 9. That is very strange, isn't it? How, I mean, I guess it's down to like his teamwork and work rate being quite low, but still, I mean, he's still getting 50 goals and 13 assists, and yet he's only winning a very poor amount of man of the matches with 9. That's quite interesting because is Haaland played 46, only got 44 goals with only 8 assists. He got less assists, but he got 22 player of the matches. What do you think that is down to? Because that is so interesting. Okay, fair enough. Now, let's see. So the most goals was scored by Turkey. They got 104. Mbappe's Turkey. Yeovil was second, though, with 87. But I guess, I mean, they didn't even have, like, the fewest conceded. That Yeovil were up there with third, but I guess Turkey must have conceded way more again. That's quite interesting, but there we go. Okay, now Yeovil are still playing a 2 up top formation, still this, like, 3 at the back, 5 deal, whatever it is. Like, so disgusting football. They knocked out Exeter. A Devon derby, that is, by the way. So that's why reason why I picked both Yeovil and Torquay, both in Devon. But it does look like they lost in the FA Cup second round by Burton Albion. So that's quite interesting. You are, I think, the league above. That went to penalty shootout. What about then? Oh, what do we do against each other? Torquay. Wow. So Torquay beat Yeovil near the end of the season. 5 games left. 3-1. Mbappe and Haaland did score, but Haaland got a consolation goal. So Torquay, how far did they get in the competitions then? Are they still playing 2 up top as well? Still same formation? Yes, it's interesting that they're both playing a very similar formation. Gary Johnson there, who used to be and is a Yeovil icon. I am sure of it that he is a Yeovil icon. Gary Johnson, and he is manager of Torquay. You just cannot write stuff like this. It is written in the stars. That is hilarious, by the way. I love how that's actually happened. Now, cup competitions. First round knocked out Barrow. Second round knocked out Salford. That's interesting. They got further. Third round and they come up against Manchester City. Kylian Mbappe come up against Manchester City in the FA Cup and they only lost 2-0. That is very interesting. Okay. And they lost in the penalty shootout of the Papa John's Trophy. What round is that? The third round to Pompey. Fair enough. Okay, let's go forward a couple more years then and see where these teams are playing out. 2 years later, and it's a sad day because Gary Johnson has retired, leaving Torquay United managerless. They also somehow spent £2.6 million on a player from Birmingham in the 3rd season, which is mental for a club in League One. Yeovil manager is still Chris Hargreaves, by the way, but the most they are spending in one summer is 105k. You will see that Yeovil Town are now in the Championship and have just finished in 5th place, which is the playoffs, but they did not go up. And you'll also notice there is no Torquay United. There is a Plymouth Argyle, though. So, there we go. Okay, Erling Haaland got 33 goals in the Championship, and he didn't even score the most amount. It was this Hull striker, a Colombian 29-year-old, who is quite decent, but he's no Erling Haaland, and yet he scored 3 more goals than Erling Haaland. I guess he's just carried them into the in this position. 81 points, losing 11 games. But where is Torquay? Well, Torquay find themselves still in League One, but they aren't going to be staying in League One for the foreseeable until next year. Kylian Mbappe still scoring a high amount of goals as well, 45, and this time without Erling Haaland in front of him, he managed to get 7.83, which was the highest average rating and the most player of the matches. So it's quite interesting then. So Mbappe now stuck in League One. That's 2 seasons in a row now. So 34 goals last season. They did not do very well. I'm interested to see what happened there in League One. So we'll go and take a look at the fight. Oh, Yeovil went up as playoff champions. That's amazing. Oh, Argyle. Come on, Argyle. I'm from Plymouth, by the way. If you're like, why is this guy randomly celebrating Plymouth Argyle? That is my hometown club. So Yeovil went up as playoff winners, and we have Torquay down in 7th place, which isn't in the playoffs. So they missed out on the playoffs the first season. They got into the playoffs the second season. No, they didn't. They missed out again, sorry. So they missed out both times in the playoffs. Whereas we can see where we have the Championship, Yeovil went up a step and then still reached the playoffs. So, I mean, let's take a look at the playoffs. The semi-final, they get to the final, they didn't. Oh, that's devastating. They were 3-1 up against Bristol City and they lost 4-0 in the second leg, which meant they lost and could not get to the final, which was played by Bristol City and Southampton. Southampton obviously won it. So that's quite devastating for them. Haaland still getting the highest average rating, still getting a good amount of man of the matches. It's just very bizarre, isn't it? seeing him at this level. Now, I said I wanted to have a look at the Ballon d'Or, the World Golden Ball, as it is known on here. I still need to the name fix. Vinicius Jr.'s been winning it, Kevin De Bruyne at the age of 32, and Robert Lewandowski in the first season managed to pick it up. So that's quite interesting there. Barcelona, Man City, and Real Madrid. No Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe even mentioned, which I didn't expect them to be. But it'd be quite interesting to see if one of them gets the Premier League, whether they can win a Ballon d'Or for Yeovil or for Torquay. That would be very interesting, but they need to get there first, and Mbappe is just dossing around in League One. But for how long? Well, I simulated another 3 years into the future to pick up what's gone on next. It took Erling Haaland and Yeovil just one season to reach the promised land of the Premier League, finishing only behind Leeds in second place. And at the same time, Torquay United got themselves promoted into the Championship, finally getting a first place finish. But they struggled a lot more than Erling Haaland's Yeovil team did, finishing in 16th place. 16th! But how much money did Yeovil put into their new Premier League team? Well, including the end of season transfer of £15 million for Kobe Evans, they spent another £28 million, not counting the signing from Middlesbrough at the end of the season, including Connor Goldson and Sean Longstaff. And it was enough for them to survive another year in the Premier League. So let's check in and take a look. Alright, so we're 2029 now, so I think this is like 8 seasons. Let's take a look. We know that Yeovil survived, and they have done it again. They finish in 16th place. 16th! It does look like Arsenal are champions back-to-back, and it has been dominated by Liverpool, and since Manchester City never got Erling Haaland, they never won another Premier League again. Find themselves down in 5th place there. Nice. Okay, so Yeovil, they have survived. We don't see any Erling Haaland, though. He is in the highest average rating, but he's not getting amount of goals that I expected he would, but obviously it depends. He got 13 goals in 27 games. I see numbers on each side. I need to see what column it was. So 27 games is not a lot. I wonder whether he did pick up some kind of injury this season. He broke his foot and he was out for 2 months against Crystal Palace. Oh, it could have been worse. He was out just around Christmas as well. He missed 5 days with a bit of a groin problem there. So he is picking up his injury. That's his first major injury, though. We can see some big strikers are also in the league. I like the fact that Wilfred Gnonto's grown into an unbelievable talent, by the way. That's impressive. But we can see the likes of Evanilson is at Manchester United. He's obviously really good. And Lautaro Martinez, world-class player, age 31 now at Arsenal, who are champions. So he has definitely got his work cut out playing for a lower league instead of what he would have done at Manchester City. And my favourite striker in the game is at Villa, Beto. Love him. Very good to see. Okay, so let's take a look at Yeovil's team then, because they have made more signings. £56 million is what they have spent. So we can see Wout Faes, who is the Leicester centre-back. I actually quite like him in real life, to be fair. They signed him for around about 15 million. Morgan Gibbs-White as well from Bournemouth. We've got a couple of free transfers there. Okay, they're not bad players either. And Niakate was another one. That's quite cheap. That's really good price, but I guess he's quite old now. And Kang-in Lee too. So interesting stuff. I don't think they've got the best team, and somehow they are still surviving. They got Alfredo Morelos. Where is... and I guess Erling Haaland didn't play in this final game. Was he injured? Yeah, he's been injured. So they are still playing with this cautious tactic, and that is because it is still Chris Hargreaves. So he's still playing this 5-2-1-2 DM, which I really don't like, and it doesn't really suit Erling Haaland, but I mean, it's keeping him in the league. Who am I to say anything different? So now let's see whether Torquay will be joining them in... well, we can't see the definitely they didn't get promoted through being champions or the playoffs, and yet again they haven't been. Oh my god, they're down in 17th. Kylian Mbappe, 27 goals this season. We got second in the highest average rating, but they are struggling big time. Torquay United are still down there. Paco James is their manager. I can't say I've heard of him before. Mbappe's their captain. Basically has more jobs than that at PSG right now, so he's probably used to that, isn't he? Got a bit of a loan debt. So are they spending money trying to get themselves promoted? They got £4 million there. Not really, because they also sold 4.6. So they're not really. They did sign Simon Adingra, which is a good signing, to be fair, especially for a championship team. That's a really good pickup. Who are they spending money on? Jake O'Brien. So it's nobody I really think is going to carry them into the Premier League. So it's all really down to tactics and where obviously Mbappe is playing. Is he? Oh, there's your problem. Oh, they got Iqbal, which is quite good, Zidane Iqbal. But the fact that you're not using Mbappe as a striker. That's criminal. That's the reason why. So they've got Abrahamson. He was a Faroese striker. Whoa, that is mental, but still, he is nowhere near good enough. If you're trying to get yourself promoted, you should be putting Mbappe up top. He's even losing pace as well as acceleration because he's 30 now. You're not going to get many opportunities to get Mbappe at his quickest no more. So, I mean, this could be very bad. He's still got 27 goals playing from that left-hand side. Play him up top, man. Play him up top and you should be fine. I guess we can see, you can't really see what position he's playing from that. We're just going to have to go by what it showed on that, and it does not look good. I decided to take our biggest jump yet and go to the end of the 2036 season and take a look. Okay, we're in 2036. Now, it's gone a little bit past where I wanted it to go, but we can still see Premier League, and Yeovil is still there. We don't have any championships. It has been dominated by Arsenal with a couple of Man United wins there, but Yeovil are still in the Premier League. Is it been the case that they've stayed there the whole time, though? Let's go competitions. I think it will show me here. Here we go. So, they have. They have survived. They've even gone as high as 6th position. 6th position. And they went down to 9th, which is very impressive. Now, they haven't won any other competitions, so they haven't won any cups, which is interesting. But they played European football for the first time. Yeah, 9th there, 10th, 8th. They played European football for the first time last season. So we can see that last season, that we're on last season there. There we go. And oh my God, they got to the Europa League final and lost to Spurs, who they beat in the league just before that. That's gotta be heartbreaking. Your first competition final ever, other than winning like lower leagues and lower cups, would have been the Europa League final. And you lose in the final to Spurs, who you very confidently beat just about 5 days before that. Well, it was a bit more than that. About 11 days, 10 days before that. That's all it was. 10 days. They did play a few games in between, which is heartbreaking. They beat AZ Alkmaar. They beat Stuttgart and Sparta Prague on their way, as well as Apoel. So they have had a flavour of European football in the Europa League, and it's beautiful to see. That's great. But we don't see any Torquay United. Plymouth there again. We're not even playing them in friendlies. So where is Torquay United? Please tell me that they have got themselves promoted at some point. Are they in the Championship? They are in the Championship alongside Plymouth as well. So Torquay and Plymouth, both in Devon. Gary Rowett's there. So Kylian Mbappe. Now, they're going to be really poor now because they have got to the age of 37. So he's still got some of his pace, but he's nowhere near as good. We'll take a look at Haaland in a sec. Torquay, have they ever gone up? No. Wow. So their highest finish is 4th in the Championship, which is what they've just finished, and they didn't get promoted from that, which is interesting. So yeah, they went up, they went into the playoffs, and Brentford was the team that was promoted. So before that, they've been struggling, down at 11th. They've never been relegation. I mean, there was close, 19th, but they've never really pushed to get themselves promoted. 6th place. So they did get into playoffs at some point, but they never went down and never actually went back up. Not back up. They never went up to begin with, which is interesting. Now, has Mbappe had a good career in the Championship, which is a sentence that nobody thought we'd ever say. He hasn't really. He only got 9 goals last season, 18, 12, 21. 24 was his big one there, which we didn't see. We seen this one, didn't we? 27. Then it was awful. He only played 19 games, so it must have been a big injury there. I wonder if we can still see that all the way down to 2029. We can. So there was a major damaged Achilles tendon there, so he missed 4 months, and a lower stress back fracture, and he missed the final 6 weeks of the season, as well as a couple of 3 weeks there and 3 weeks there, where fracturing his toe and getting a tight calf or back strain. So he missed loads of games in 2029, but he has been missing quite a few here. There's a few 4 weeks there as well. He just has never really done it, has he? He's never managed to pull them back up. He had a great season there, which 17 assists, 24 goals. That was the season they needed a little bit of luck. I think that's when they finished 6th place. They needed to go up at that point. They never did. So, I mean, it's all down to Erling Haaland then and what he has managed to do in the Premier League, because I think this is where we're going to leave it, because they're not going to get any better. That's the trouble. Erling Haaland's 35 now. He still is a beast. He could probably still go on and do something. He is losing attributes elsewhere. 413 goals in 510 games. It does surprise me that it's not more goals than games, but there we go. 23 in the previous season in 35 games, 27. 35 was a big season there, and that was the same season season as what I think Mbappe had a good year. He had 12 man of the matches, 35 goals in 37 games. That's kind of what you'd expect him to be. I thought he'd be around about that more than anything, which is interesting. So I want to see whether Yeovil are... So who's their manager? Jesse March is their manager. That's interesting. That is interesting. So he plays a 4-2-3-1, which is exactly what I would hope that they would play with Erling Haaland. And obviously they seem to be doing quite well there. They got the likes of Conor Gallagher, and obviously they're going to be loads of different regens like this guy. I expect to be a little bit better, I guess. Being in that they're in the Premier League, there are some very bad regenerated players. He's quite good. He's quite good. He doesn't have an English name, but he is English according to that. So they must have spent a little bit of money then. So £101 million in this season, but 138 million out. Jesus. So they did spend money and they're selling players at the same time, which for Haaland is not great. 60 million out, but 119 in. They are making like more signing more players than what they're selling in terms of money, because they are spending quite a lot. But yeah, I am a little bit surprised. I really am. I thought one of them would actually like dominate and eventually would take Yeovil Torquay and start winning the Premier League and at least get themselves an FA Cup. Like the fact that the only competition really... I mean, I don't give Torquay the benefit of the doubt. Did they actually get any other competitions? They didn't. The fact that none of them got a League Cup or an FA Cup does shock me. It really does, because I thought they would carry their team all the way through. I guess the final thing we need to look at is the Golden Ball, the Ballon d'Or. So let's take a look. Okay then, well, no surprises, I guess, but neither of them are featured. Oh, Yathabal managed to get third place there in 28-29. Chiesa's managed to pick up one. Lewandowski got one at the age of 37, which is quite impressive. Vlahovic, Vinicius Jr., Raspadori, Vinicius Jr. again. Matisse Tell, one of my favorite regens, wonder kids on this game. And then we finally actually have a regen, Flavio, which doesn't really look like a Brazilian last name, but still, he looks phenomenal for Manchester United. And there we go. That's bizarre for me. Archie Gray, hello. Wow, never heard of him, but he looks really good. That surprises me. What do you think of this experiment? Let me know if you want to see any other types of experiment just like this. Make sure you check out NordVPN. The link will be down below. If you support the sponsors, you actually help me as well and support me. They like to come back that way, so pick them up. Pick up the NordVPN. There's so many benefits. It's ridiculous, and it's so cheap, like ridiculously cheap. So make sure you go down there and check that out. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're kind of on our route now to 55,000 subscribers. I'd really appreciate if you can follow me on the journey, and a new series will start next week, hopefully. And why not check out this video where we open a mystery shirt, which this shirt that I've got on actually might be that shirt. And if you're wondering what that shirt is from, then we did a full season with this team on Football Manager. Go check it out. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.